Hello, welcome to Insects for Life, the podcast of ECPs, the International Center of Insect Physiology and Ecology. I am Liz Nganga. Technology transfer is a term that is often used in research and development, but what exactly does it mean? In this masterclass, Sally Nyasi, head of ECPs Technology Transfer Unit, demystifies the concept. Thank you very much for joining us today, Dr. Sally Nyasi. Please start by telling us a little bit about yourself.
My name is Sally Nyasi. I'm an entomologist. I'm originally from Senegal. I studied natural science at the University of Cheikh Anta Diop in Senegal, where I got my BSc, Master's, and postgraduate degree in zoology before embarking PhD studies, first in urban agriculture, and then later on I got a scholarship to come and study biopesticide development here at ECPs in 2008. I completed my PhD in 2011 and worked for the University of Pretoria in a project on climate change in African mountains before returning to ECPs to take another postdoc on aggregation behavior of bean flower trips on grain legumes. And then I also became the first coordinator of the Land Matrix project. And I finally settled in 2017 at ECPs as head of Technology Transfer Unit.
So technology transfer, this is, I guess, a concept that is thrown around quite often. But I don't know if we need to demystify it, just to explain what is technology transfer.
Technology transfer is just knowledge impartation. From a research perspective, technology transfer is generally the end point or the end result of any research initiative. Usually research questions are raised to solve or their attempt to solve certain number of problems, especially in the agricultural field. And of course, a technology is defined as any attempt of solving a problem using scientific means. And there are different types of technologies. They can be knowledge-based, they can be products, they can be methods, they can be data sets. So in a broader sense, a technology is any scientific attempt or any scientific product or process that is used to solve a problem. And therefore, the research and technology transfer go hand in hand. And in our context, as a research institution whose mandate is to alleviate poverty and to improve the livelihood of people in the tropics, it is essential that all research outputs are now shared with beneficiary end users such as smallholder farmers, private sector, governments, policymakers, so that they can now benefit from this research.
Perhaps you can tell us a little bit about ECP's own unique approach.
Yeah, ECPs is a unique institution with a specific entry point, insects as an entry point for anything we do. At ECPs, our strategy for technology transfer is articulated in 5 main thrusts. The first approach is to get to understand all the research that has been conducted since the inception of the institution in 1970, inventory them, rank them, and then classify them, profile them according to their readiness. And then after, these technologies need to be packaged because more and more ECPs is trying to implement the One Health paradigm instead of the 4H paradigm, which is still relevant. But as you know, these technologies have been developed, unidirectionally. You have technologies developed by plant health others by animal health, others by human health and environmental health and so forth. There is a way these technologies can be connected so that we can solve multiple problems. So after innovation and packaging, we talk more about communication and dissemination pathways. The technologies, whether they are knowledge-based or product or methods, etc., they cannot be disseminated the same way. We have another component on partnerships, and we need to collaborate with other institutions that are more suited for, that have a better reach to the communities. These include private sector, NGOs, extension services, and then the last thrust is research, because we need to track our reach, and also we need to be able to measure or to quantify the feedback in order to feed it back to the inventors, the scientists, so that they can improve, they can polish their technologies. So here we have generally two aspects of what we call technology transfer or technology scaling. We are more in the scaling out, trying to make sure that our technologies are replicated. The success that are achieved in one country are replicated in as many countries. But at the same time, we try also to move the technologies from ECP to private sector companies to engage more policymakers to create an enabling environment so that these technologies can reach the beneficiaries.
We continue our conversation with Dr. Saliu Nyasi on the concept of technology transfer and ECP's approach. Maybe give us very good examples of success of ECP's technology transfer.
As you know, the push-pull technology was invented by ECP in late 80s. So we have been able to take the technology to more than 20 African countries, and in those countries the technology has been well received. One of the good things about the technology is that it addresses several problems at the same time, including pest, weeds, striga weed, stem borer, but also the recent fall armyworm. So currently there is more than 250,000 adopters, direct beneficiaries, and we have reached over 60 million people in Africa. Another good case study is the Fly IPM. The Fly IPM is one of the most comprehensive IPM package in horticulture, because you have technology ranging from monitoring tools to control tools and also to eradication. If you combine the complete set of tactics, you may eradicate or suppress the pest. And you have also post-harvest technologies, which include hot water treatment. So all these technologies have been disseminated. The project reached over 44,000 beneficiaries who have really received the technology and be able to implement it. It has trained several people, including students, making sure that the knowledge remains. But most importantly, farmers are able to produce mangoes that are free of pests and free of chemicals. And these mangoes are highly competitive in the market. Another very successful also case of technology transfer is the insect for food and feed. Several technologies have been developed, including mass rearing of insects, the use of fertilizers, and these technologies have been transferred successfully to the youth. And it is expected that this project or these technology transfer projects will benefit hugely the country, but also marine resources, because more and more fish meal is being used actually for feed, but then insect will replace that over time.
What are the challenges, some of the challenges you would say you face in technology transfer?
The most difficult one is regulation, the lack of harmonization of regulation. Let me give you a practical example. For instance, when it comes to the push-pull technology, the seed is one of the bottlenecks. But currently in Africa, there are very few companies that are engaged in seed production. But when it comes to seed systems and seed regulations, not all countries have, common policies. So a seed that is produced in Rwanda cannot freely move to Kenya or commercialize in Kenya. And the same way, a seed that is produced in Zimbabwe cannot be sold, for instance, in Burkina Faso. So there is a set of procedures that need to be taken to ensure the purity, the cleanliness of the seed, and several other tests to make sure that there is no disease. So the lack of harmonization across region, is one of the bottlenecks. Another challenge is also limited involvement of private sector. You will also notice that usually when there is funding, technologies are easily adopted. But then when project phase out, and after some years, we come back to square one. So it's very important again to work to work in consultation or in conjunction with private sector and other actors in the value chain to make sure that there is sustainability.
Let's say somebody gave you 3 wishes. What would you wish for?
3 wishes. My first wish is to see ECP technologies being adopted across the world. My second wish is to work effectively with other actors on the continent or on the region in consultation to package together our technology so that for bigger impact. My last wish is to see ECP growing more and bigger than it is, and to reach other regions of the continent.
We thank Dr. Saliu Nyasi for this masterclass on technology transfer and its vital role in research and development. This podcast was directed and produced by Brian Mwashi of ECP. For more information on ECP, visit our website www.ecp.org.